Hello everybody, it's Jan Dufour. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I'm here to show you how to use all these lovely products. Let's go ahead and list them. We have the Stamparatus, which I'll show you how to use. It's a wonderful tool. We have some cardstock, which is a regular A2 card, which is 5.5 by 4 1/4. We have a piece of our basic black, and that has been cut at 4 and 5 1/4. We have a piece of lemon lime twist, which has been cut at 3 3/4 by 5. We have a small piece of our gingham gala in lemon lime twist. On one side, it's got a larger plaid, and on the small side, a smaller side rather, on the other side. And I think we're going to be using the smaller plaid today. I went ahead just for time and used our layering ovals to cut out the 4th size smallest out of basic black, a oval to go around the sentiment that we're going to use when we punch out with our punch, which is called the Pretty Label Punch. We are also going to use our Butterfly Gala stamp set and the Butterfly Duet Punch. And then we're going to also use our Stampin' Blends in dark Granny Apple Green, which is obviously not the same color, but there isn't a Stampin' Blends, and this works in that color, and this works really well. And the reason there isn't a Stampin' Blends for Lemon Lime Twist is that is a 2017 to 2019 in color, and that will be leaving us on May 31st when we get our new catalog. So if that's something that you think you want, that color, you might want to either get ink refills for your stamp pads or the cardstock or whatever it is you think you need to use. And then we're going to use some Wink of Stella just to make everything real pretty. So I did do some things ahead of time, so I'm going to get things out of my way here so we can get started. As you see, we already used our layering ovals. We will be using our stamp set though. Let's start with just assembling a little bit of the cardstock. We're also going to be using your choice of glue. I tend to use our multi-liquid glue mono by Tombow. I love this glue. It goes forever. It doesn't warp the paper unless you just put way too much on there. You just put the appropriate amount and it works great. It's really strong, which I use it for boxes even. But just for time's sake, I'm going to go ahead and use our snail adhesive just to put a few pieces of our card together. And we'll load that on here. One of the nice things about the liquid adhesive also is when you put it down, you can pick it up again and you can move it. Not as easy with the snail adhesive. I'm going to go ahead and put that aside for now, slightly out of your view here. Also, by the magic of television or video, I've already done some of the stamping. I wanted to leave some of the stamping for you though, so I could show you the tricks I used when I was doing this. When you want to stamp off the card, particularly near the edge, it would be difficult to do because there's no place for the stamp. So what I do is I find a spot wherever it is that I think I can use, and I just put it along the line so that I know if it lifts up, I can put it back where it goes. Another thing I do sometimes is just use our washi tape. It holds well, and I don't know, sometimes clicking this it's too big to be in the spot that I need it to be in. I've already kind of positioned this where I want it. One of the tricks is I don't want this butterfly. So there's a couple ways you can do it. You can mask, you can do different things, but just an easy trick is I take a piece of Scotch tape and I just cover the butterfly that I don't want without covering any of the parts of the butterfly that I do want. Now, the Stamparatus is awesome because it comes off, and I can put it just about anywhere I want when I am inking. A lot of people say it's awkward to ink up there, and I say, why are you doing that? Because you can do this instead and ink. And as you can see, I'm trying to avoid the tape while still getting what I want. And I think I have it. But then, so you can see I got a little bit of black on the other butterfly, which I don't want. So I'm going to lift this up. I'm not going to get rid of it because I might need it again. I'm going to put it back in my Stamparatus. I'm going to bring it down and stamp. And lift it up. And it's good enough. It's very good, as a matter of fact, so I don't have to do anything else. So I'm going to go ahead, actually I'm not going to close it. I'm going to go ahead and take this off. So our inside layer is ready. I'm going to put it aside for just a moment. I don't know if you noticed, but when I picked up my Stamparatus, I had a word on the Stamparatus, but you would have noticed it was upside down and inside out. But that's because you can flip this, so you actually can use both sides. If you're doing production stamping where you have multiple stamps that you want, or multiple projects that you want to do, it comes in really handy. The other reason why I love it is because, you know, sometimes I just don't stamp right. I do want this straight in that I don't want my cards to be, or the word to be off on an angle. So again, I'm going to use the washi tape, but make sure I have it straight. I know that this is straight, so this will be straight. Then I'm going to make sure that I will have enough room around it to, I'm going to just clean off the, oops, on the other side, just so that I don't get my fingers on there when I'm working, so that I can get the stamp punched around. And then the other thing is, I don't know if you can notice, but that's really crooked. So again, taking this off, I know that this is around where I want it. Difficult to see. There are lines on my Stamparatus, and I can literally pick up my stamp and make it so that it's on the lines. So right now I've got it all lined up just about. This is a little bit further. So without really moving a lot of space, so I know it'll still fit on my piece of paper. Well, here's another thing, by the way. You can always make it do this kind of thing if you wanted to, which of course I do not. So I will put that, have to make sure it's lined up. Okay, I think that's pretty good. I'll put it back in, just make sure it's in the right spot. I'm gonna go ahead and ink. And go ahead and ink my paper. And look at that. Really good and straight. So that's it. Now I'm going to take this off. I'm going to peel this off carefully. And I do this a lot with the Stamparatus, especially intricate things. I will take it off carefully, maybe get a few pieces of ink off my fingers, and then I can take it over, which is off camera, to my Stampin' Scrub, because it's an intricate. I don't get too careful about cleaning my stamps always perfectly because the ink doesn't actually hurt it. But I do not like to pick it up when it's dirty, so I just lay it on here, and then I can take it over and clean it so that my stamps are nice and clean. All right, so that's the stamping part. Now I can cover up my momentum and actually put it away because, oh no, I lied again. I need it for one more thing. We'll take this off. There's a lot of little parts to this thing. I'm not real good at videoing yet, so you'll have to apologize for my back and forth, but I'm going to take out my pretty label punch and put this in here and get it centered. Now, in this particular case, I do have a little bit of leeway room to hold here, but if you don't, another little tip, I always keep these Post-it notes ripped up. it's an instant hand or finger. Go ahead and put it in the punch, and then you can hold this and move it to where you want. So I'm just gonna, I often just set it down so it doesn't move as much, and decide where I want it and go ahead and punch. And then you can discard this. So we have that done, and we can go ahead and put it on our black cardstock if we know where it is. Oh yeah, it's hiding right now. I'll find it. Oh, there it is. All right, and again, you can use whatever form of adhesive you prefer. I'll just kind of center this on here. Oops. You'll notice I'm not pushing down at all because I want it to be slightly movable until I get it where I want. All right. Then we can put, oh, nope, sorry again. So what do we need to stamp some more? We needed to put their bodies on. I don't know if you noticed, but they're bodiless right now, which must be really weird for them. Yes, that's that humor coming in, folks. Again, I do not have the appropriate Stampin' Up! Stamp, but I'm using another one. On one side, I have the big body, which I make sure I get ink on. And then I place it where I want and stamp that old body, because you can see through the stamps, of course. It makes it absolutely wonderful. You can stamp off if you have to. We've got a couple more bodies to go. And so, whoops, as you can see, there's two that I'm not real happy with, but don't worry. I'm flipping it over now to the small body because I need to put two small bodies right here. And then I also stamped off camera this one butterfly with the tails that are colored in. And I did both the small one and the big one. So I'm going to put bodies on them as well because they're going to be popped up. So we'll do the little guy. Oops, poor guy keeps flipping around. And we'll do the big guy. I'll see if I can't make sure I get ink all over it instead of getting too excited about the video, which is pretty much what I do right now. Okay, and I'll put that off camera now that I've got one more that that I've already done. Sorry. All right, so now I can put away my memento, and I want to do that because I don't want it to dry out, and I also want to get it out of my way. Let's see. So we've got this already stamped, so I'm going to put this away. That will help. I've already cut out my butterflies, so I don't need anything there. I can choose to put this anywhere I want. Generally, I go for something that I didn't like the way I stamped. You'll notice on this one, it's kind of low on the card and off center, and I like that fine. That's because this one I messed up. So just keep in mind, I fortunately did, well, actually I did this first take on these, and that one worked out as well. These are the same butterfly, but part of that's going to be covered, so it's not going to be noticeable. And so the question is, I think I'll do it here. So I'm going to go ahead and put some of our, our foam dots here. And I tend to use a fair amount. I'm going to use 4 on this one. And I don't know if you know this trick as well, but I might as well tell you while you're here. Don't throw this part away. Just because there isn't a 6-sided, is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Yeah, sectagonal shape. You can use these, and as a matter of fact, I will be using these. So I'm just going to cut this little piece here I'm going to cut this little piece here. And the reason I want them little is because I'm going to be putting them on my butterflies. And then I'm going to rotate and pick. This one's not so little. I'm going to turn onto this side. Oh, here's a little piece right here. Okay. There we go. So I'll keep those there. We have to color first, though. And we're going to color with our dark Stampin' Blends, our dark Granny Apple. You'll see in this card, I stamped it actually in Old Olive and then colored in with the orange, which is okay. But I wanted to try it a little bit lighter, and I didn't want to use the Grapefruit Grove because I wanted it to stand out more. So I went ahead and used Cajun Craze, in case you're wondering what that is. And all I'm going to do is color the leaves. As you can see, I'm not being super careful right now. If I wanted this to be a masterpiece, I could two-tone shade my leaves and blend them using the lighter Granny Apple Green. And that would be beautiful. But this is meant to be a little less than a masterpiece. A really pretty card, we'll say. We'll go with that. And let's see. Yeah, that stands out better, I think, than before. One other punch that I needed to do was on this card I had, which is why I used some orange, a little orange butterfly. So we'll go ahead and punch that out right now. And use the corner. So we'll have him all ready to go too. But right now, I still have to give some color the same to this little butterfly here. He doesn't have very many green leaves. Speaking about catalogs and colors and things going out, all of our in colors that are 2017 to 2019 will become extinct, if you will, on May 31st. So you're going to want to get in touch with me if you choose to want to order some of those. And of course, I just noticed, because I am new to this, that I didn't have a body on this particular butterfly because I just cut him out. So I'm going to go ahead and take it out again and put some, oops, I'm not on camera for one thing. Okay, and put his little body there. And then I'm going to fix the issue I told you with the two bottoms that I didn't stamp well. Again, wouldn't you know it, I'm on camera, but that's okay. You can use our journaling pens or our black marker. And because it's a small area, I'm going to use the harder tip. There's an outline of where it should be, so all I'm doing is putting a little bit of color to make it come in line with the rest of them. So now we're all better. All right, so now that that color has dried a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and apply the Wink of Stella on it, so that'll give it a little bit of time to dry. So I'm just piling it on, and as you can see, which I knew was going to happen, suddenly we have some orange. Now, how did that happen? Well, that's because the Cajun Craze is not a, it's a dye-based ink, which means it's water-based, which means it's going to run because it's not made as the Memento is for applying anything wet to it, which the Wink of Stella is. And so good for us, because what a way to cheat and color. So we're going to apply that all over him because I want him to sparkle. I do not want his body to sparkle. That would just be weird. And then I'm going to do it to my little butterfly and get him all pretty. Now, if I do not want to transfer some of the orange As you can see, well, maybe you can't see. I don't know what would be a good color behind it. White, maybe. The tip of, kind of in a shadow, the tip of the Wink Stella is orange right now. So you're going to want to wipe it off on something. You can see it's stained. And now I'm getting clear again. No more orange on the tip. Let me get this out of the way. And then I can go ahead and do my orange butterfly. The ink is permanent on this paper as long as I don't get involved in the touching of the black. I have my shine. So I do just a little bit more. Sometimes I double it up just to make sure I didn't miss anything, because we don't want our little butterflies to be shy once we perch them where they belong. Okay, oops, I didn't clean that. I should, because I will not remember. I'm likely to pop that down somewhere I don't want it to be. All right. You know, we're just having fun here, making things fly. Okay, so now I have to put the sentiment down. So I'll go ahead and pop off these dots, coverings in the back. If you're not familiar with these, they are sticky on both sides, which is why I have to remove the little piece. And what did we decide? I was going to put it right about here. I want room for my butterfly on the top, so I think I'm going to put them right here. There we go. Now, remember we talked about the little pieces? I have a little piece here. I'm going to take that off. That's pretty little. And put that down the center. Now on the back he has spots, and that's because the Stampin' Blend is an alcohol marker and it goes through the paper, which is something to keep in mind when you're coloring what your surface is. But the others does not. So the other thing I like to do is, because he's got a body, I just hold my fingernail there and move him up. He's not quite dry, so now my fingers are sparkling, which is kind of cool. And I'm going to put him right down here. Sparkly fingers. I'm going to take this guy and bend him just the same way at the body. And then we're going to take a section, what did I say, on this end? Oh, that's really little. I'm going to put him on this butterfly. And then take off the paper, turn him around and bend his wings. I think I'm going to put him here, flying off in this direction. And this one we're going to use this one down here. And you can always put two if you think one's not enough if you're getting little pieces, but really one's enough to keep it up off the surface, and that's all you're looking for. And we'll put that there. I always like to raise some butterflies in anything I'm using if I'm using butterflies. And depending on the sentiment, I do it a lot on sympathy cards, and I usually just put one butterfly representing the loved one who's passed, taking flight and moving on, however or whatever you believe where they go. I just like them flying. So this is going to be our card. We'll get rid of all of these pieces. Flip it around. And then all we have to do, and in this case, because I put the butterflies on already, I'll show you how our mono adhesive works. You just unscrew it, and you hold on, and you just put a little dab all the way around, and then you do this in the middle, and that is enough. And then you can put your paper down, and like I said, there's always room for wiggle, which is nice when you're trying to get it centered in a small border. I'm going to push it, whoops, not that much. Push it just a little. Press it down. If any comes out, it dries clear. You just kind of wipe it off with your finger and you will be golden. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please visit me at stampmesilly.com, where you can order these products or just look at the blog posts that I have that show some of the other work that I did. And actually, stampmesilly.com has a link that will take you to my Stampin' Up! Website, which is http://jandufour.stampinup.net. But if you go to stampmesilly.com, there's a link there. I really appreciate you being with us on this silly Sunday. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Thanks. Bye.